Well, guys, let's talk about this Washington Post article, and we're all getting up to speed on it. Donald Trump may have given over highly classified information to the Russian ambassador and Russian foreign minister while they were meeting with him in the Oval Office. This was the day after he fired FBI Director James Comey. Steve, it's not illegal for the president to disseminate classified information because he is the president. He can unclassify it.
Yeah, well, let's see. You know, we've got the report here in the Washington Post, so let me just put all of the sort of caveats out there. We're still reading it, processing it. We will hear a lot more about this. But look, I mean, this is a guy who came to office campaigning against somebody who, had been in that email scandal about, did Hillary Clinton share any classified information that wasn't encrypted, all of that. Donald Trump made that one of the central issues of his campaign, that Hillary Clinton was unqualified to be president. Because of that. Paul Ryan, the Speaker of the House, said that anybody who is as reckless with that kind of information as Hillary Clinton was should not have access to this information. And so, look, we will see what we learn more. We have one report here from the Washington Post. I'm still digesting it. I think a lot of people are still digesting it. But the backdrop for this is what Donald Trump stands accused of in this article is something he ran against.
So here's the thing. NBC News has not verified this report quite yet. We should note that. And we have reached out to the White House for comment. We have not yet gotten that, although reporters were trying to pepper H.R. McMaster with questions about it, but he turned around and walked out the door over at the White House right now. The issue here is it seems like Donald Trump was talking about this new laptop threat, this ability to use laptops to make explosives. And it's something the Islamic State is doing. It had been in the news for a while, and apparently, according to the Washington Post, he shared it with the Russian ambassador. Susan, what is your reaction if this ends up being as
it's
the Washington
only
Post
thing
is
that
reporting?
can move the discussion off of the tapes is leaking classified information to the Russians. No, it's seriously, it is extremely disturbing. And if the president comes back with, well, I chose to do it because, as Steve said, he can give any information he wants, any classified information to anybody, then I would argue that he should also give the classified information that indicates that President Obama, as Donald Trump claimed, there was wiretaps at President Obama, and so he could declassify those. This is yet another disaster for this White House, especially as it embarks on a
How many disasters can they survive?
Well, they're going overseas, so we're about to find out potentially, because that's going to be a very difficult problem, especially when one of the U.S. diplomats didn't even consider one of the places in Israel, part of Israel. They said, well, that's not necessarily what we're going to call it.
Another part from this article. In his meeting with Lavrov, Trump seemed to be boasting about his inside knowledge of the looming threat. I get great intel. I have people brief me on great intel every day, Trump said, according to an official with knowledge of the exchange. Again, this is the Washington Post. I got to ask you, Susan, because you're a Republican at the table. How do Republicans react to this? We have Senator McCain coming out and saying that he was...
We said if true concern. I mean, it's sort of a generic response so far.
But if this is true, what are Republicans supposed to do?
Well, you're going to see some Republicans. You're going to see what you've been seeing. Some Republicans, like a Senator McCain or a Lindsey Graham, they will go out.
He gave over highly classified information, and they're just going to say, "Oh,
I'm not going to defend what the president did if this is true." But you're going to see this will take a huge hit on President Trump's numbers. If you start seeing him go down to 32, 31%, you're going to see a lot of Republicans running away from him.
39% is not quite enough.
No, because 39% is still higher than his.
My prediction is that once he goes under 30, that's when they're going to start to jump ship. But I do think that when we're talking about this, we have to think about the context. He allegedly revealed classified information in a meeting with the Russians, which happened the day after he fired the FBI director and admittedly said it was about Russia. Also, I should add that Kislyak was in the meeting, and we know about it because of the photographs that the Russian photographer took, not because any information was given out before the meeting. No one knew Kislyak was going to be in the Oval Office meeting until the pictures came out after the fact, and the U.S. media wasn't even let into the room. So I think that this all has to be contained in the context and the big picture about the Russian investigation.
There is one other thing.
That has to do with all of this.
There's one other thing to take into consideration on this. As we know, President Trump announced that he was going to seek to broaden the laptops. if they can travel from not just from certain countries, he wants to expand it potentially to Europe. So
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if this was a Donald Trump saying, hey, I got this intel, we're going to start to do this next, just off his cuff, because that's what he typically tends to do.
That's
so White House
frightening.
reporters who ran into H.R. McMaster, who I guess ran into a gaggle of reporters, he said, this is the last place in the world I wanted to be. Guys, we're going to have to, with that, we're going to have to leave this discussion on hold.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.